How we doing? Just sending out some stuff today. It was actually a really slow weekend for sales, and that's not unusual in the summer. Um, Obviously Christmas time's going to be the biggest eBay event, but summer tends to slow down. I think people are more concentrating on vacation, and the kids are getting out of school. You'll tend to have a bump at the end of summer, a little bit beginning of fall, then it falls off till the holidays. Spring's usually pretty good, but I only had 6 packages go out this weekend, which is kind of unusual. But before I packed up 2 of them, I figured I'd show them off. One was this Safari Limited set. I did a lot of 6. Really, really nice quality stuff. Safari Limited does all kinds of figurines. Last video we did some pirates, which I didn't even know they made. But we got like a Komodo dragon. He's pretty nice. I think the spiders and the scorpion are actually the nicest because unlike most of their stuff, there's actually a bit of flexibility in the legs. It's quite frankly creepy. My 5-year-old came in and he was on the fence about whether or not he thought it was real. This toad actually looks legitimately real. If it wasn't dry, if there's a way to have a sheen to it, it would be a dead ringer for an actual toad. So those are going out. Usually when I ship stuff like this, it's not breakable by any stretch. I use padded envelopes just as my default. And I'll just put it in a baggie just to kind of keep them all tight. That way somebody doesn't accidentally throw away one that gets stuck in the corner of the bag. So that's what I do with that. And then this one is from How to Train Your Dragon. And this stuff sells for a lot of money. And I don't know why. I don't know if the movies were not popular initially and it's something that picked up as streaming became more prevalent, or that the toys themselves perhaps didn't sell well because the movie was not popular initially and there's just not that many of them out there. This one I sold for $15. I've sold some of them for $40. I have quite a few of them. I pick them up anytime I find them because they do go for exceptional money. And stuff like this, when I package it, I try to fold it up as much as possible so there's nothing that can really snag. It is going in a padded envelope. And then I'll grab these handy airbags that come with certain packages and I'll just stuff it in the guy. And once it goes in that padded envelope and he's all taped up, there really shouldn't be any concerns. The stuff's not breakable on the back. The tail is flexible. The only thing that would break it if somebody smashed down on these wings. I've never had a claim, honestly, other than Hurricane Ian destroying a package, which had nothing to do with the way I packed it, most assuredly. Yeah, those are going to go out in the morning. Throw them in the box tonight. So we're going to be going through some of the stuff that I was working on that I got today. That being G.I. Joe's Geo Bra, and then these mystery figures I got. Let's start with a G.I. Joe. So this is a 1990 G.I. Joe. I'm changing up my camera lighting and configurations, so bear with me here on that. So, my only concern, he doesn't come with anything at all. You can see there's a hole in his chest here where there should be something. I'm guessing this is a diver, so it might have been some kind of apparatus. His hands are jacked up. You can see they're two-tone where the paint came off. And this one has some kind of gunk on it. Or somebody bit it. But the thumbs are intact. That's what you want to find on a vintage G.I. Joe, is the thumbs are a casualty of playing. Once the thumb breaks off, they can't hold a weapon. And the body band, you can check that. There is a band inside, and that's good. If it's tight like that, it's fine. You can replace that if you need to, but the thumbs, once they're gone, are gone unless there's a top secret method, or maybe just buying broken lots. I'm sure there's guys that do that. So we're gonna look up, who is this guy? Because I'm not, outside the barbecue and Duke and all them, I'm not really well versed in G.I. Joe. And this was the reason I bought the bag he was in, because I looked at it initially, and it looked like it had some really nice toys, really nice like quality, and I flipped the bag over, I saw this, I'm like, well, anything G.I. Joe is a no-brainer. These go for good money. So we're just gonna fire up Google Lens on this guy, and we'll get a name, and then we'll go start looking for pricing on him. Undertow is the name, although this one says year 2000 and mine is 1990. But it's definitely Undertow, so he's missing his flippers. And whatever plugs into his chest, nobody appears to have. Let's bring it to the computer here. Get our display up here. All right. So we have 1990 Undertow G.I. Joe. That's odd, because this guy, it's the wrong color scheme. And I had this guy because I remember he came with this Barracuda, and how weird it was because, most of your adventures are not going to take place in the ocean. So the Barracuda was just kind of like, what am I going to do with this? I remember the trident and everything. So what on earth? The fact he says 90 on him. This is inner thigh I found it on. I don't know if you're going to be able to pick that up. Possibly. 1990. But that ain't it. He looks like the 2000 one. Ain't even close. So we'll punch out Undertow 2000. And that's him. Yeah. All right. The forehead, Cobra symbol on his forehead isn't coming out too great. And he comes with the same stuff minus the goofy Barracuda. I don't know what clips into his chest. Oh, this would be like maybe this breathing apparatus thing or something. So it doesn't come with anything, unfortunately. I'm quite confused as to why the year is wrong. Like, I have to believe the year printed on his body is correct. Unless somebody is making bad fakes. That doesn't make any sense. And this wouldn't be one you would bother faking, I wouldn't. So I'm going to list him. I'm just going to put Undertow 1990, because that's what it says. If people want to argue about it, they can, but man says 1990 on his thigh. Who am I going to argue with it about, So. Fortunately not complete. The file card and stuff. Even when I bought them right off the shelf at department stores, I never kept the file. Honestly, I had no no desire to know anything about them because like I was doing my own stories and whatnot. Like I didn't really care the backstory of G.I. Joe. I don't believe the show was on the air anymore when I was a child. I didn't have cable growing up anyways, so if it was, I probably couldn't have watched it. So while there's a lot of lore around it, I knew nothing about it and just wasn't interested. I'm listening as a 1990 vintage Undertow because that's what it is. Alright, and we'll get down to pricing here, which has potential to be all over the place. So, with absolutely nothing, 20. Then 16. See what they're going for currently. So I'm gonna have to go under this one because the fact that he comes with a little glider. 22. This one's 13. But his groin is broken. Actually, is that even the same figure? Extreme Troop Undertow 2002. It's similar. Bootleg variant. I don't know about this. This is kind of weirding me out. What makes it a bootleg? Oh, his leg entirely snapped off. Yeah, that's not even remotely the same figure. Okay. I figured really deep fakes on figures is fairly new. And still nobody's going to dare put Hasbro on a figure. You're going to lose everything you put into your venture if you pull one of those. So, pricing wise, I'll do 14. I think that's more than acceptable. So he was in a bag I paid $3 for. So far, that should be $55 I've listed out of that $3 bag. So that's and we're not done. We're going to finish up that bag tonight. So pretty substantial pickup today. And it's not always like that. You're not always going to get a $3 bag that ends up being like whatever. Even if everything else in it's garbage, which is not, $55. Pretty nice ROI. But not always like that. Sometimes it's a $3 bag and you're going to make $5. That's Undertow. Let's move on to... I'd like to figure out what these are. So, last video I found these guys. They're not branded, but they're really nice. You look, it's firefighters and rescue. If you look at the detail on this helmet, on the suit, on the backpack, it's a PVC or vinyl feel, but there's no maker mark of any kind. But they're too nice to be cheap. The camera's not crooked, I just happen to have lined them up in a weird way, I think. There we go. So once again, I'm gonna hit Google Lens and try to figure out who they are. Alright, so Google Lens. I'll figure out a way to do this on the computer at some point, I guess. I thought maybe if I could take a picture with this camera and upload it, but I figured it'd be kind of messy on the back end. So, let's see. Mighty World Figures. Mighty Mac Figures. Okay, I'm seeing Mighty World, so that has to be a GeoTrax. No, that's a completely different guy. So we're gonna go Mighty World. We'll look that up. I've never heard of it, and they're not branded. Just because I haven't heard of the brand doesn't doom it, but Mighty World, we'll do Firefighter. So somebody tore all the helmets off of these. I had a sneaking suspicion you could remove them, but they were not coming off. Yeah, Mighty Worlds. So, when we talk about supply and demand, which is really all there is to reselling, I feel, when you bring it down to simple terms. Did we see a year on this? We didn't. But what do we know about our supply? Our supply is easily damaged. So kids got these whatever year they came out, and the first thing they did was ripped all their helmets off. So I'm sitting here with 3 with helmets. So the supply is largely diminished over time. It diminishes when you unbox it. It diminishes when you lose accessories. It diminishes when you damage it. So they are out here. Not a ton of them. 21 results. 2006. That lines up with the year on everything I got out of that so far, other than that G.I. Joe. And it's interesting that like almost none of these have helmets. So I'm going to do it as a lot. Let's see if they sell. And that's the unfortunate thing, is they don't. These do not sell. So it's a brand that people aren't looking for. That doesn't mean they don't have value necessarily, because I can sell them as just firefighters. Oh, we got one down here. Mighty World. 14-piece lot for $27. Mighty World Fire Rescue. Oh, because I had Firefighter. We'll try Rescue. Let's see if we get some better results here. Oh, just the one. Oh, this one. River Rescue accessories. Yeah, so this isn't gonna fly off the shelf necessarily. So we're gonna have to be pretty aggressive with this. Although mine are complete. So I'm gonna do... We're going to do the lot for 10. Because my lot looks better than everybody else's. That significantly undercuts everyone. So if I have any chance of selling them, that will be it. So, Mighty World Fire Rescue figures, lot of 3. You know something is not popular when it doesn't even have a category on eBay. So this is something that just never got off the ground, apparently, in 2006. Even though they're nice. I mean, they're kind of an odd size. But they're good quality. We'll get a height on them because people may not know what they are. 3 inches. And we'll see what happens. $10. So that puts us up to 65 I've listed. That's not going to be profit. Because you have to take shipping into account for all this. But $3. One of the better pulls I've had the last couple months, probably. And it has been dry in my area. There is another thrift shop that has expanded. And I'm hoping something not everybody knows about thrifting if you're in the US is the brand Savers actually sources from other thrift shops. So if you have a thrift shop and you can't put stuff on the shelf, you're taking in more than you can sell, Savers will buy it off of you for whatever, a fee, and that's how they stock their store. So this store relies on Savers, and they put stuff on the shelf, and they primarily just deal with clothes and knickknacks. So I think they're not going to have to use Savers anymore once they expand, and I should be able to get some good toys, because they used to be begging for toys, and then one of the owners died, and they just could not do it, unfortunately. I think they lost a hand, basically. I did get this Safari Limited diver, but there's nothing I could do with him. We're gonna put him in a bowl, and maybe if I come up with some other divers at some point, I'll be able to throw him in there. If he wasn't so silly, I would have put him with the last batch, but the size just didn't work out. So these are Geobra figures. They're a little, this one's a little loose. Yeah, their limbs have been played with. So we're gonna look that up. I believe my kids have a set very similar to this, but I don't feel they were this large. It's something I ended up having to put away when we got our second foster son because the parts were too small for him. But we still got it. So why don't we look up Geobra Knight? Yeah, they have that, like, silly, like, head shape. Although this dude's helmet is not a knight helmet. That looks like a working in an oil field helmet. So it kind of doesn't fit. I'm just going to go with it because that's what I have. 2 shields, no weapons, bunch of helmets. And this helmet might be missing like horns or something. Doesn't look quite right. But let's see. Get a general idea. 600 listings. So Playmobil Geobra. Okay, so yeah, because my kids, I think he has Playmobil. There's a castle that my wife got him for Christmas, and it was nice and we did play with it, but it just had really tiny parts, and it wasn't going to be good for a 2-year-old to have around. So that'd be a fun thing to bust out at some point. He's probably forgotten about it by now. The other one's never seen it. So people are listing them for $8. Doesn't mean they're getting it. Very few of them have any accessories at all, so just the shields and the helmets is not a bad thing. Alright, so look at sold listings. A lot of parts, a lot of lots, so 2 knights, 2 pirates. We don't know what he ended up selling it for, but I guess 9, I would guess. And again, here on this, a lot of money for busted ones, 93. I don't feel like these have a date on them. And if they do, it's probably the same age as the other stuff. Let me just take my flashlight to it real quick and see if we can spot anything. Yeah, 2004 on his foot. So these aren't vintage. So the 93s go for more. I like these. Look at that. That green's kind of striking. Like, that's a cool set. Try to narrow it down a little bit with 2003. Also, it's Playmobil, we know that. They do sell, just not. Seems the ones with all the accessories are going to sell the quickest. This one's, you know, a guy with a helmet for $5. Two guys with nothing for $8. A lot of 3 Geobron Knights, Playmobil, accessories, and 2004. And you can see in the picture what's there, so I'm not gonna dive into it. So I'm thinking price-wise, I'm going to go 9. I think 9 for 3 figures with some accessories is not a bad price at all. Bagging them up so they're easy to find. Oh, I don't have a lot of these, so I put it in a giant drawer. It was actually I bought a Goodwill used to take in furniture. They really don't anymore. But they had like Furniture Friday or something. So if there was a piece of furniture that they hadn't sold that week, it was like $2 or something utterly ridiculous. So they had a cabinet with 2 drawers, and it was meant for vinyl. So it's just giant drawers and a wooden cabinet. So I got that for I think it was like $5. I got one for just figures that don't really fit anywhere else. So that goes in there. It's a big drawer, and it takes some sifting through to find what I'm looking for sometimes. Otherwise, I'm fairly well organized. I think that was it for that. Got time for one more thing. Let's do some sorting here. I put everything that I have to go through into a large bag, and then I just start kind of moving it around to other bags. So I got a Pixar Cars guy. I typically do 3 of these in a lot. This one doesn't have a name on it. I'm not familiar with it. They do a lot of cars. Let's see if we got enough real quick. No, doesn't look like it. I'll put him away. Then we got a really banged up car. This is a Matchbox 1973. Made in England. This is old. It's unfortunate. It's missing the back, whatever. The canopy windshield's cracked. There's a piece of it busted. I'm assuming that there might have been a mirror. It's definitely been played with. It still rolls. Given the age, I can still put it in a set. Usually with die casts, I do like 5 for $9, and I'll lead off with something interesting, and this would be a good lead off piece. That with my die casts. And lastly, what do we got here? Kind of princess. Disney. I don't recognize this, which typically means if I don't recognize it, it's Disney Junior. I'll go to Disney bag, and I'll do a Disney video at some point. I'm trying to keep a theme going in all the videos and keep them under a certain time. So I have, well, let me show you the bag. This is the colossal bag of stuff that I need to sort through. I got my Disney figures, I got Maui, I have Spider-Man, I do like Disney and children's programming, and I do lots of 3. We got Paw Patrol, another Paw Patrol. So I'll go through it occasionally, get 3 of something, put it together, $8, and they move very well, depending on what it is. Disney stuff, obviously, high supply, high demand, it moves. Paw Patrol, same thing. And, you know, it's a lot of stuff in this bag, but when you think about it, I've paid effectively nothing for all of it. It's just all stuff from bags. It wasn't anything I intentionally bought. It's just remnants of a bag that had something I wanted, or a box that had something I wanted. It's like a restaurant making a soup of the day out of scraps. I'm just putting stuff together to make the most out of the money I spent. So, pretty good haul today. We had our G.I. Joe, we had our Mighty World, and I learned something new. If you can learn something new in this every time, absolutely go for it. And Playmobil guys listed. So I think I'm going to call it a night. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.